Sadiq Khan.
Deputy Speaker, it's a pleasure to follow the honourable gentleman who, for the most part, made a very compelling speech. And I rise to speak in an absolutely crucial debate for many Londoners. And I commend the speech from the front bench and from my honourable friend, the chair of the Select Committee. There is, Madam Deputy Speaker, a housing crisis in London with a growing shortage of affordable homes to buy and rent. Precious public services are struggling to attract and retain workers, and the city's businesses cite housing as their single biggest concern. Many Londoners are in distress over housing, from the inability to make any progress on a council housing waiting list to poor quality accommodation. And one of the biggest issues is the rising cost of housing to rent and to buy. For many Londoners, the prospect of buying their own home is now simply a pipe dream. Absolutely. The average deposit to buy a place, not the purchase price, the average deposit to buy a place is now £100,000, 3 times the median salary of someone in inner London and 4 times the salary of someone in outer London. As a result, more and more Londoners have no choice but to rent. Rents have now, wait a moment, let me make the point about renting. Rents have now reached an all-time high of £1,300 in London and are rising year on year, rising 38% since 2010. Housing benefits spend, essentially the taxpayer making up the shortfall between what Londoners can afford to pay and what the market is charging, increased in London from £5.3 billion in 2010 to £6.1 billion now. And add to this the government's welfare changes, the bedroom tax, cuts to tax credits, lowering the welfare cap, and you've got a pretty toxic combination that's hollowing out many inner London boroughs, putting enormous strain on the social fabric of London and increasing the pressure on housing, transport and public services in many of London's outer suburbs. Of course, I'll give way to my honourable friend.
Thank my honourable friend for giving way. Does my honourable friend agree with the senior Tory that says that right to buy will wipe out swathes of social housing?
Yes. Well, the Conservative leader of Westminster Council was speaking on behalf of Londoners who care about the social fabric of our city and are worried about the hollowing out of our city. I wish more on the other side did that today, Madam Deputy Speaker. So with this bill, the government has a real opportunity to start the process of solving this crisis, but they flunked it. Instead of solutions, the government's proposals will make the problems even worse. Turning first to the extension of right to buy to housing association tenants. Over recent years, there has been no like-for-like replacement of affordable homes sold under the existing right to buy scheme. The Secretary of State couldn't dispute his own department's figures, which I put to him, that in London since 2012, only 1 in 7 council homes sold have been replaced. So how can anyone believe it'll be any different this time? There's nothing in the bill to guarantee money must be reinvested in the local area, replacing like-for-like sold-off homes. And let's be clear, some housing associations are relaxed at selling off homes in inner London and replacing them with units in cheaper parts of outer London or even further afield. And this damages London's social mix, accelerating the exodus of poorer people out of our great city, making the affordability crisis even worse. And to make matters even worse, the only way the government could fund this policy is by forcing councils to sell off the most expensive homes. And in London, this means losing substantial amounts of affordable family homes, meaning London's low and middle income families are going to be squeezed out to fund the sell-off of housing association homes nationwide. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'll be fighting with colleagues of whichever side want to join me to retain the money from housing association and council property sales in London for Londoners. And there also needs to be provision for like replacements in the same areas as the properties are sold in.
Absolutely.
Madam Deputy Speaker, it's not like the government are planning a big boost in truly affordable homes either. Instead, the government's eggs are all in these starter home baskets. And in London, starter homes simply won't help struggling first-time buyers. And with, as has been said, starter homes capped at a cost of £450,000, even with a 25% deposit, which, by the way, is £98,000 for your deposit, you'd need an income of £77,000 to afford one. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, when the Secretary talks about aspiration, it's aspiration for who is he talking about? Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill is a missed opportunity. It won't fix London's housing crisis. In fact, it'll make it worse. It won't deliver the genuinely affordable homes Londoners need to buy or rent. Won't help councils and the Mayor start building the homes Londoners desperately need. Won't rein in spiralling rent rises for those in the private sector. Won't end the scandal of the homelessness problem in London. Madam Deputy Speaker, next Mayor's mayoral election is a referendum on the capital's housing crisis. This bill reinforces why that referendum can't come soon enough.